Welcome to RomWills Money Matters, networking with other vendors. Now this is very important. Yeah, you go into that vending show to make money, but you know what? And I always use the example of 1,000 people coming to a vending show and getting 100 people to stop by your table or whatever your setup is and getting 25 sales. What if it's slow? What if it's slow? There was one vending show, I'm not going to call it out. Nobody showed up. Oh my God. Nobody showed up. I was like, oh gracious. And I've been to a few vending shows. You know what? Just real quick, I've been to some vending shows where it was just crowds. It was in like a big convention center. And then I've been to some other vending shows. You can count the number of people on like a few hands. In fact, there's been a couple times been to some vending shows and the vendors were meeting trying to get back money. You know what? I'm not even going to get into all of that. But here's the thing, and this is regardless of the size, but especially in cases where you don't have a lot of people there. You network with other vendors. You do that normally anyway. Just like during the times, no matter how crowded it is. Talk to the other vendors, be like, hey, how you doing? What you got here? Hey, how you doing? What you got here? You can meet some people. There's some people I'm still connected with, maybe on social media or something, that I met at a vending show. There's one writer, I ain't gonna say who she is, but I still see her stuff all the time on social media, and I met her at a vending show. And we had a few people come through there, but it was just networking. And see, you want to network not only, for several reasons. One, you might want to go to the bathroom, right? You might want to go to the bathroom. You might want to get something to eat. You might not have someone with you at the table. That's good if you do, but sometimes you get a lot of vendors, they might just be the only one there. So you might need somebody to help watch your table, to pay attention. I've done that a lot of times. Done a lot of vending shows where I would just talk to the people. Then you want to see what they have. And then here's an interesting thing. You want to find out, you can find out about other vending shows just by talking with other vendors. Because one of the things I found with it back in the day, it's its own subculture. And anybody who's followed me regularly, especially on my other channels, know I pay attention to subcultures. It's a subculture as well. And you can learn a lot. In fact, you not only connect with people, you can find out where there's another vending show. You can find out, like, you might not know, like, there's another vending show at this particular location, but you talk with that vendor, you can find out. In fact, there was one time, just being cool with a vendor, was able to find out about a vending show at a comedy concert. I was able to find out about something. You can find out about other things going on. Depending on what you're selling, you might be able to find a better place to find a supplier for a particular product. You can make a connection. Look at vending when you're dealing with other vendors as a community. It really is a community. You're all in there to make money. You're all in there to make money. You might even show them something. I remember I was at one vending show and there was a certain way I was drawing people to my table. And there was a young man there and he's still vending to this day. He started doing the same thing because I would be like, hey, come here, check it out. After a while, he started doing it. And I didn't get mad at him because one of the things when you vending, all of y'all trying to make money. You are not competing. Let me be very clear about that. Y'all are not competing with each other. You trying to help each other. So you might bring somebody to the table. You might, like, say somebody stop at your table. And they might buy something. Say, go ahead, check out this stuff. There's some good stuff right here. In fact, I remember one time. I was selling some books, and this guy, he was helping this other author who was there, and he was actually helping to sell my books too. He was selling both of our books. He was bringing people to the table and everything. That's one of the things. You want to network. You want to find out stuff. In fact, I remember, now this one guy was kind of annoying, but I can understand him. He would set up next to me. He would have stuff here. He would have stuff all over. He'd be trying to like lean into my space a bit. And I was like, but it brought people to the table, so I said, let it go. You know, and there's been plenty of times. I mean, you have people that you can connect with, you can find out stuff about. I made so many connections just through vending. Just if nothing else, just for somebody just to pay attention to your space, if for nothing else. Because I remember there was one vending show, and you know, I talk about relationships, and they needed somebody to come on stage and take the place of somebody who was supposed to be on a relationship panel. And I wasn't dressed or anything for it. I was not dressed or anything. In fact, if you look at my main page and you see me sitting at a table, I got this light blue waffle shirt on. It was that show. But I networked. And I was, while I was on stage, and I was up front for a little bit, I was have somebody look out for me. Even told them the price of my books, and they even sold a couple for me and was able to give me the money. See, you want to do that. You want to connect with the people. You want to find out where else that you could be going, what else you can find out about, other locations. In fact, because remember when I first started vending, we didn't have social media. We didn't have social media. We didn't have ways that you can just go in there and find out about stuff. It was basically connection. You had to, once you set up someplace, you say, hey, is anything coming up? And they will be like, yeah, something's coming up. Something is coming up. And that's how you had to look at it. That's how you had to be. And you could meet people. You could connect with people. You could figure out something. In fact, there was one vending show, and I ain't gonna get into it too much, but I didn't have to pay for the table, but I had to share the space. And one of the organizers thought it'd be a problem, but me and the lady worked it out. So we were basically sharing a space. But we were working with each other, selling each other stuff of that nature. But it's very important. When you go to any type of show, when you don't just sit there and don't talk to people. You friendly, no matter what, no matter how crowded it is. Be friendly at the very least with other vendors, especially the vendors near you and everything. Be friendly to them. Be able to have a conversation with them at the minimum. And then you can also say, hey, what else is going on? And indeed, one of the things, and let me end with this. Sometimes vendors, especially if it's a light show, and sometimes that happens. Yeah, you might want 1,000 at the show. You might get 100 total. You might not get that many. Sometimes vendors will buy from each other or trade with each other. There have been many products I either bought from another vendor or traded like a book with them, with another vendor. So network. So anyway, that's all I have for today. You know the deal. Let's go make that money.